Hi, and welcome to the Psychic Hour, where you can get the answers to your most challenging questions concerning life, love, or the afterlife. Starring Cindi Sansone-Braff, the Romance Whisperer, a relationship expert with a twist. She talks to the dead to teach you how to live well and love better. Named Best Psychic 6 times by the Long Island Press, she is the author of Grant Me a Higher Love, Why Good People Can't Leave Bad Relationships, and Confessions of a Reluctant Long Island Psychic. Joining her tonight and always is the show's producer and host, Nicole Semidei. Nicole, a talented artist, writer, entrepreneur, and intuitive, shares her unique perspective on the Grant Me a Higher Love philosophy, which is the spiritual foundation of their show. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing good, Cindy. And how are you? I've missed
Very
you.
good. And we have a special guest today. Laurie Smith is a psychic medium, teacher, and creator who loves helping people connect more deeply with spirit and with themselves. She's the publisher of 2 Oracle decks and the editor-in-chief of Edify Your Soul magazine, a publication that celebrates spiritual growth and inspiration. Laurie offers intuitive readings, teaches development classes, and hosts in-person events that bring people together to learn, heal, and explore the unseen world. How exciting is that? This is our holiday special, and we have 2 of her beautiful decks that she has created, Soul on Fire and Have a Seat. And both of these are amazing, 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 and would make a great holiday gift. So we thought we would get to know Laurie and have a little fun with these cards. And Laurie and I also have something very exciting in January that we'll be doing together. It's Teach Me Tarot. It's a 4-week course on Zoom. That isn't one you're going to become a tarot master. That's not what this is about. It's about how everyone can use Oracle decks and even a more complex one like the Rider-Waite, which I use, to do your own. Ask a question, get an answer, look into the future, connect with the other side. It's going to be very fun because it's going to be just easy to learn, basic. Laurie and I are going to have so much fun doing this. So we're hoping you'll join us. I want people to know a little bit about Laurie because I've known her a very long time. And she was a client of mine, as Nicole was, by the way. We've come sort of full circle. But Laurie is really an incredibly creative person, really a great writer. She's really good interviewing. I've done her shows, and I am blessed to do a Teach Me Tarot for Edify Your Soul. She has the best spiritual people writing such interesting articles. So, Laurie, can you tell us a little about what started your spiritual quest? Were you always psychic?
I'm so excited to be here. It's amazing to go full circle. I think about just being a client in your room there years ago. This is awesome.
Me too.
Really.
So I called a little bit out on things, and both of
Yeah.
you listened.
Always.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm still getting called out.
Yeah, well, that's because she's like my child. Okay. But Laurie, tell us about how this opened up for you, when, where.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think I had abilities growing up. You might think so. You could probably say, yes, I did. But I was just kind of living a regular life, whatever that might be. I had gone through a divorce. I went through a depression. I went through a brain injury, had a near-death experience. I just started talking about things that other people didn't know. And people were sort of looking at me funny, like, how did you know that? And I'd say, I don't know. Why don't you know that? And this is when I was recovering from the brain injury. So I had therapists and aides at my house, and I was just saying things that kept shocking people. And then I started talking about people that passed away as if they were standing here just like you were.
Because
Until
they were.
one day,
Because they were.
until one day I shocked one of the people that worked for me so much that he looked like he was going to pass out. I started telling him things about his life and his loved ones. And I said, I need to stop this. I'm going to, I just can't keep doing this. Like, I need to figure this out. And someone said, you're a medium. And I said, no way. And before you know it, I was actually doing readings pretty quickly. The ability to do readings came to me so quickly, yet I couldn't even drive a car or cook for myself for a few years. Connecting to spirit, knowing things, connecting to people was the only thing that made sense to me.
Wow. And that's sort of about the time that I started to really get to know you.
Mhm.
And I could see she had psychic ability. And it's a little hard when you're not able to be grounded to the earth plane because you have an injury and you can't even drive, but now you're in spirits. We were trying to get her grounded a little bit and then let her fly. Do you remember that? I would be
Yes,
let's get you healthy, let's get you well, and then let's let you
absolutely.
fly. And that's how she began. Now, how did you come up with Edify Your Soul, by the way? And again, it's a phenomenal free publication online that my clients just love because I send it out through Constant Contact. So tell us
Mhm.
about that idea because that's brilliant.
Funny that you asked that question, and I guess I never told you. I have a dear friend that helped me through one of my most difficult times, my depression.
Yes, yes.
And we would send emails, back and
Wow.
forth. And in one of the emails, I guess he didn't like something I was doing. I was telling him about my life, and he said, "What are you doing? Get yourself together. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And he said, "What are you doing to edify your soul?" And that
I
stopped
like
me in
that.
my tracks. And I was like, I don't know. What am I doing? What does that mean? So I Googled it, and I just always remembered that phrase. So when I was trying to think of a name for my business, it was just a no brainer.
And
And
it's a great
I
I
love
if
asking people that question. What are you doing to edify your soul?
It's a good question.
It
it is
just
a good
fit.
question. Now, what made you create oracle decks? Okay, I know you've seen people use tarot, you've probably used decks yourself, but what made you let's start
Yes.
with the soul on fire, okay? Now,
Well, actually,
explain
Cindy, I'm going to
yes,
interject here
right.
because we know the difference between Oracle and Tarot, and somebody that might be watching us might not know the difference between Oracle and Tarot.
Absolutely.
So, Laurie, why don't
Good.
you explain what the difference is between a Tarot deck and an Oracle deck, and then let's
Well,
go into
Cindy's
your
the
soul
tarot
on
expert.
fire.
I'm passing that question along to you
Okay,
now.
Okay.
the tarot decks are really have a major arcana and a minor arcana. So, and the major has archetypal characters like the fool, like the high priestess that make us go into our subconscious mind. When we see the fool, we kind of already have some idea of what that might be about. If we see the emperor, we kind of think of a wise older man. So some of the pictures are really going into our subconscious mind. And then the minor arcana has four different suits. So it's a more complex kind of system than, say, an oracle card, which may have little sayings on it that you don't necessarily have to study. Really, tarot, you have to have some basic understanding and do several hours study. You can't just look at it and think you're going to
Yeah.
read it. Yes, you could look at the emperor and think, but how it relates to the question that you're asking and things like that. But an oracle deck is kind of different and they go in conjunction with each other. Sometimes I'll use the tarot deck and I'll use an oracle deck just to summarize something. So, what does oracle cards mean to Lori?
I think one of my favorite things connecting to spirit is getting messages. And as a medium, when you get a message, I often say, wow, that's really smart. I need to do that. I need to learn that because it's not really coming from my knowledge. So I decided I need to get some of these things down and allow people to have a chance to reflect and realize that they don't need to be a medium. They don't need to be able to do readings for people. They can give themselves a message or pull a card for someone else. And it's meant to really have the person reflect, not just get a message and repeat it. Think about it. You can look at just the pictures, you can look at just the message.
Mhm.
And I
It's a
spent,
little bit easier, a little more
Well,
user friendly, I think, right?
yeah, I think
I
so.
always tell people that when you use Oracle and Tarot in conjunction with one another, that you got to think of it more like the oracle cards are almost like the prompt, whereas the tarot is more like the deep dive into that prompt. So the
Mhm.
oracle cards are great for, very, very quick framing, and they're great for, quick messages and quick clarity. Whereas the tarot is a lot more pattern recognition, and it's a lot more
Right.
systematic, and it does a little bit more of a deep dive into your subconscious.
Okay. Now, I love these cards because she has a little bit description on the back of each one of the decks. And the Soul on Fire on the back cover, it said it was created for those who desire the kind of love that begins within, radiates outward, and transforms everything it touches. Through these cards, Laurie invites you to listen inward, trust your light, and remember who you are. Now, when you use these decks, she has instructions, but you're supposed to start with an intention. Now, can you explain what that means, starting with an intention? Because again, I think Nicole knows and I know, but a lot of people won't know what we mean when we say, what's an intention? Like what?
Right,
What are
right.
you talking about?
Well, just like it sounds, you want to set your intention for what you would like to get out of it. So if I wanted to pull a card for one of you, I would set my intentions for this to be a message that Cindy or Nicole need to hear.
Okay,
There,
stop right there. Pick.
yes,
You have your deck with you?
I do, of
Soul on Fire? Okay.
course.
I want you to pick one for me
Okay.
because I never get readings. I think I've had like two in my
Never.
entire life. So I'm going to get one for me and one for Nicole. And I want the better one. Okay. And if mine isn't so good,
If it's really shitty, you pulled mine. That's what it is.
So I like to, there's no wrong way to do this. I like to shuffle. I like to
okay, you
take
do
the top.
shuffle them, right? You do shuffle?
Yes, I
Okay.
take the top
Shuffle.
half off and
Okay.
I take
So gonna
the
shuffle.
very first one. There's no wrong way to do it. Some people like to let one fall out. Some people like to say, tell me when to stop. But
Mhm.
here we go. I'm setting my intentions that this is something for Cindy.
It's me.
Love yourself like someone worth staying for.
Wow, that's a very good one because it's really a year of energy and a year of self love. And self love meaning love yourself the way you love your best friend, your child.
Yeah.
So it's very important that aspect of loving yourself. If you can't love yourself, by the way, you will never be capable of loving another human being.
And
So,
I would sort of use my intuitive brain here and go a little bit further. So love
okay,
yourself
good.
like
Oh, I
someone
like
worth
it.
staying for. Now, I know, Cindy, you have self love, you teach about it, you understand all of that. But someone worth staying for, I feel like that has a little to do with some professional relationships. I know you have high standards, as you should. And
Thank you.
I feel like this is a reminder for you to not accept less than what you give.
Okay, that's a very good one too, because it's about giving and taking. And it's about with our energies this year, the the positive infusions we give out must be matched with the positive infusions
Right.
back. Okay. It can't just be we're the givers and they're the takers. And I'm going to go one step further, how right on point she is with this, is there is a spiritual law of 36 that I was only taught about recently, but it's been around since the dawn of time, but no one had to teach it after about several thousand years because people automatically did it, but they're not doing it anymore. If someone asks you to do something, you're expected to do it within 36 hours to at least recognize it, acknowledge it, tell them when you can do it or why you can't. But what's going on now is people just ignore, and then old souls do it themselves or they get someone else to do it. And then the person 5 weeks later comes back and says they're going to do it for you. So that is what we're talking about. Like if I'm going to be doing this effort, I do expect a response back. Even if you can't do it, please tell me so that I could move forward. So these are
Right.
the intentions that are very strongly coming from spirit. So that could not have been a more perfect card for me today, since all of those things have been very much in my energy frequency today.
Part of the issue too with people exercising self-love is that they often confuse self-love with being selfish.
Right, exactly.
And there's a very, very distinct difference there because when you are giving yourself self-love, You're caring for
Right.
your own well-being. You're setting
Right.
your own boundaries. You're making choices that are there to sustain you physically, mentally, spiritually, so that you can show up more fully for yourself and for others. That's self-love. When you are being selfish, you are prioritizing your wants. You're not prioritizing your boundaries. You're not prioritizing your care and your ability to show up for others. You are catering to the most materialistic things within you. You're ignoring things like empathy, you're ignoring reciprocity. That's being selfish. So don't confuse the two. Caring for yourself and setting boundaries, and every now and then saying yes or saying no because of your own well being is a lot different than saying yes or saying no
Oh, yeah.
simply because you don't want to.
Right.
Exactly. And there is something that's supposed to be sort of our mantra in 2026. It's tell me again, how is that my problem? Okay.
I love it.
Because,
Right.
Cindy, that is more perfect than you know. And when I show you your store, you're going to see it.
right, we have to really come, like she said, selfish versus self love. And if we were raised by selfish people or surrounded by them, we don't ever want to be selfish. So everyone controlled me for 3/4 of my life because they called me selfish when I was exerting self love and human rights, by the way. Okay. So, you
Yeah.
know,
And
just
it's funny. There's one card we could probably talk for the next hour about. We just keep going. So it really is a great prompt. And, part of self love is also having expectations of others,
yes,
expecting people to put in the effort that you do. Cindy, I never told you this, but as you know, I work with a lot of mediums. I host events. I
yes, always.
I coordinate the magazine. I mean,
She does a lot.
I deal with a lot of people. I always know when I do something for you and I send it to you. Last time I sort of played a little game. I was watching the time to see how long it took to get some feedback. Now, I think that's always great because you don't want people to be perfect, but you want it to be as perfect as it can. So if I'm doing something for you, you give the feedback, you give the love. You're so appreciative of what I do,
I am.
but you always teach me something.
Thank you.
You do. So when we were coordinating that Teach Me Tarot, you always have something to add, and I
Mhm.
admire you so much for that.
And also, I love working with her because if you do slightly say, I think this would be better, she's like, oh, yeah, great. Whereas some people, you can't even say that to them and you don't
Right.
say it. And later when it comes out, you're like, I should have said it because it really
Yeah.
was necessary. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And also, when you're doing something as big as she is, a magazine with a lot of
Mhm.
different people, are trying to get the big picture. And you might just miss the slightest little thing. Like, as a writer, the
Absolutely.
mistake for me is always in the title. Okay. I've
Uh-huh.
edited everything for 4 years, and there's a spelling mistake in the title that I haven't seen in four
That's so
years.
funny.
It's the simplest thing that you might miss, but that is what it's about. It's giving and taking and being receptive to working as a team and working and respecting what Laurie does is very difficult and
Mhm.
very hard. And what she has put together is probably one of the best spiritual magazines I've ever looked at, read, or encountered.
Think
So let's see what Nicole's card might have because
okay.
Nicole has always a little mixed bag of tricks.
So, I don't know anything about you, Nicole, but
I
I'm gonna
know, that's
put
what makes this
my
even more
psychic hat
scary.
on here. So, I felt guided to pick 2 cards for you. So, I just go along with it, and
Okay.
with a deck like this, can do that, you're allowed. So, the first one is your light doesn't have to explain itself, it just has to shine.
I like that for her.
I like it.
So,
Okay.
before I give you my
Now
2 cents,
splain me, come on. 2 cents, come on, let's do
the
this.
next one
The
is your
next one, yeah.
fire deserves someone who won't fear the heat.
Say it again?
Your fire
Mhm.
deserves someone who won't fear the heat. So
Those
these
go
2
hand in
cards,
hand, those two,
They kinda
actually.
do,
yes,
yeah.
now I understand why I felt guided to pick 2. I feel like this sort of has to do with professional as well. I feel like you're very intelligent. I feel like you're very aware of what you're doing, how you're doing it. I don't feel like you do things halfway. And sometimes that's a scary place to be, to just know that you have your confidence and that will attract some people and it will turn others away, whether it be jealousy or people just not understanding what it's like to own your power, own that light. And with the other one saying, deserve someone who won't fear the heat, we all absolutely want to attract people that can be at that level with us, that can challenge each other, not
Mhm.
just go along with it, not be afraid
Exactly.
of it. So I would say this is a gentle reminder, or it could be more of a kick in the butt to stay in that power and attract the people that you want to take along for the ride. And if they can't stand the heat, it's not a bad thing. They're just not meant to be on that particular journey with you.
And I
Okay.
think it's important knowing Nicole as deeply and as well as I do that she sometimes is her own worst enemy and has an inner saboteur
Mm,
who sometimes has allowed other people to dim her light, but I think she does a pretty good job of blowing it out too.
yeah.
We
So
want
how did I
her
do?
we want her to come into her own, come into her power, because remember, this is a year of energy and it's
Mhm.
all about thinking, where am I losing my power? Who has drained me? Who is sucking it dry? Where am I losing it? And where do I need to recharge it? So it's a lot of deep thinking in this year. So, Nicole, how did that resonate with you, not letting anyone dim your light or be afraid of your fire?
Spot on.
So
It was yeah, spot on.
I
This is it.
decided to play a
That's
little
nothing that I
game.
haven't said to myself over and over again over the course of the past couple of months, and it's just got
That's
thrown back in my
awesome.
face.
Yeah.
Cindy said Cindy said something that reminded me of another card.
Okay.
So I said, I'm going to play a little game over here. And this one is be the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. So that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
because Nicole is a rescuer.
I
N
um
Okay, and Nicole does so much times running here to help this person, go to help that person, go to that she has no time for her creative endeavors.
mhm,
And then this goes on for 3, 6 months at a time. We're not
mhm,
talking 2, 3 days. Then she totally blows a gasket and loses it because she hasn't done anything that she has set out to do. So, again, that goes back to this mantra of this year. So tell me again, how is this my problem? Before you be the lifeboat, you better figure out, do they deserve to drown? Because if they do, I'm just going to go right past them
mhm.
because I am going to carry that dead weight on my back or that cross.
Yeah.
So that was very, very having known Nicole as long and as well, that is her really divine message. Now, I'm going to tell our listeners who are listening to this before Christmas time or Hanukkah, maybe you get these deck and you give them a gift for yourself and you bring it to the table on Christmas or on Hanukkah or New Year's Eve to see, let's really have a discussion. Let's really talk today. Okay, let's really have a dialogue
I love
because,
that.
and that's what these are about. And children love oracle cards, by the way. So they can stir a discussion in a way that you couldn't get your kids to open up. But to take out a deck of cards, and I'm going to laugh because what I've been saying this whole week is I'm never going to be a mahjong kind of girl, bridge, and because everyone asks me when I go to New York Athletic Club, do you play mahjong? Do you play bridge? Do you play? No, I don't play cards. I'm going to say, oh, I play oracle cards. Okay.
I like that.
I am a card kind of girl. Okay. So that was great. Now she has this other deck too. Have a seat. So I want to have a little exploration of this one too,
Mhm.
because this is a very interesting deck as well. This is to spark reflection, creativity. And this is very, very important for Nicole because she's got an artistic mind. And this is what this is linked for. So it's to spark reflection, creativity, and
Had this show
insight
become all about me?
through the because you're our girl, through the metaphor of a chair. When you draw a card, consider how you sit with yourself and with life's situation. Allow the images, now it's important because images and message to help you explore where you are in your journey and have fun with it. So I think this is an interesting deck too. So this is for someone very much who has a creative mind and who thinks in images. And I know that Nicole thinks in images. So I want you to maybe shuffle them up and pick a card for Nicole on
Something tells
this
me
one.
Laurie's already done that at this
Oh,
point.
of course I will, but Cindy, since you have them, can you pick one for
There
me?
we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Let's get
haven't
the
had a
Okay.
tables
reading
turned here, ladies.
from you in a long time.
Okay. So I'm gonna like shuffle hers up a
Okay.
bit.
I really
Um,
do love this deck because it gets you to pause for a minute. Imagine sitting in that chair. How do you feel?
and now this one is great because it's elevate your perspective. Does this resonate with you, Lori, that elevate your perspective? Always, we should always elevate our perspective, by the way. But how is this resonating with you
Absolutely.
today?
Well, I recently went through something with someone that's really struggling. And naturally, we wonder, what did I do wrong?
Of
You know,
course,
what
it's all
was
your
my
fault.
role in this? What did I do? How can I undo it? And I had a lengthy conversation with a friend, and she said, it's not about you. Look at the
Mhm.
bigger picture. Look how that person is struggling and what they're going through. So this is just putting it right smack in my face again.
Of course. And we talk about on the show always how we live in three different dimensions at once. And one is the 3D world of ego. And it doesn't have to be a bad place. Egos don't have to be terrible, but it's where we have to master the material world. So we do have to make a living. So if we're trying to make a living in a way that heals people, helps people, serves a good purpose, and you don't rip people off and you do your job, 3D can be a good place. But for the most part, it's not. Anger lives to illness, feeling there's not enough, very fear based, okay? And where war resides. 4D would be an elevated perspective because 4D is from your heart. So you would look at from a love based perspective. What do I have to learn? What love can I give or
Mhm.
whatever? 5D would be of the soul, where telepathy lies, where a sense of humor lies, and where kindness lies. So spirit, and I have to always say to myself lately, because really, sometimes I just think the world's such a shit show, and I wonder, does anybody know anything, and what the hell's wrong with people? It's what I want to say all day long. And I say, please, Cindy, go higher. Stop judging. Go from your heart. Go from your higher consciousness. How can you lift people out of that 3D ugliness where jealousy lies, envy, narcissism, greed, selfishness? You can only do that through love and through the soul. So I think that's a really big message for all of us. Try to stop judging. Why is their life such a big mess? Why is it? How do they do that mistaking? And because there's a point where I've lived so long, I want to strangle people. How could you do that again? You did that again. Please make a new mistake. Make lots of mistakes, but don't make the same one for 50 years. I can't even stand it anymore. But I have to zip my lip. I do use the power of telepathy to tell them, knock it the hell off and give them the look like I'm not going there with you today. Okay. That's a little different, but that's a very good card for Laurie today. And I think for all of us, always, always sit in your seat, take a pause, and go higher. Please. Even when you really want to scream at somebody, the problem when you're a good empath, a positive empath, even if they deserve a frying pan in the head and to be screamed at, we're never going to feel good that we did it because it doesn't feel good for us to hurt people. So we have to always try to go higher. Now let's see what's and have a seat because Nicole's in the hot seat right now.
All
What
right.
does
I have
what
one
does
for you, Nicole. Resilience is your foundation. So we have a ripped up chair.
Okay. Come on.
now
And
Nicole would probably do with that, fix that chair. She would probably
Didn't
resilience
hear anything
every
because
time.
I froze again and it kicked me out.
Again, notice how every time there's a card,
What the
and I don't think I'm going to edit this out when I do this because
This
I
is
find this
this is
fascinating.
nuts, is what
That
this
every
is.
time there's an answer for her,
This is
yeah.
she just
bananas
freezes
right now.
and goes out. So let's do
You
that
know,
again.
And
it's
I'm
so funny.
hardwired.
But energy, I mean,
It has nothing to do with that.
they say, I mean, we're all psychics. We all have lots of energy, but they say people who have had a near-death experience have real ability to affect electronics and, and things like that.
And
So
I always do
it's,
too, no matter what.
yeah,
When I was in London, you have to use your credit card and you just have to get on the subway and you just have to press. When I did it, it wouldn't go on. And people are like yelling at me, the guards, like, why are you doing it? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. it won't let me do it. And then they took the card and it worked, but I couldn't, no matter how many times I swiped.
Right.
And I'm doing it exactly correctly. And
Mhm.
also with my iPhone, if I'm trying to take a picture, I cannot touch the button. My right hand will not, it won't work with my right hand.
Me
I
too.
have to switch over to the left hand.
I thought there was something wrong with my phone.
Nope. It's when you have psychic ability, I guess more of it goes on the right side for some reason. And I'll have to
Oh, I
tell people,
didn't
wait a
realize
second,
it was just one.
I have to switch hands.
Yes.
It it's not every time, it's 90% of the time. Once in a while the right hand works, but that's usually when I
Yes.
haven't done any readings that day. So
Right.
I think now I'm going to have you pick a card for me while Nicole's not here because she'll be back. And again, this is the
Yep.
have a seat card. And Laurie's going to tell us later how we can get these. And of course, I'll write it down for our listeners can see.
Okay. Right. Cindy, step away from your daily routine. And we have a beautiful beach scene.
Well, that fits me because I believe in nature therapy
Mhm.
and quiet therapy. And where my happy place is the water. And that's where I go like a child and jump in the water. And no matter how cold it is, I put a wetsuit and I'll be jumping around in there
Yeah.
because it is, and my summer is scheduled usually not to start my day at least 4 days of the week until 3 o'clock. So I go out to the beach, and the other days is a 2-hour break somewhere where I can go because we only have a beach down the block. So I can just
Right.
go and swim for an hour or do something. But
Right.
is important for me. That is my therapy. What I've been told this year is yes, we all need talk therapy because what we bring forth will heal us, what we keep hidden will destroy you. But spirit's starting to say, you people are talking it to death. You tell the story once, you tell it twice, you tell it 3 times. Please shut up. We don't want to hear it anymore. You're picking a scab that never stops bleeding and you're
Mhm.
not letting a scar form. Now, a little more quiet therapy, joy therapy, go for a walk, nature
Love
therapy.
that.
These are things that we need to be doing now energetically to heal
Yeah.
the energy body. So that
Oh, I
would be a
love that.
perfect card for me.
And
Now,
what I like, see, it's not a relaxing beach chair. It's kind of like a work chair, a chair you would sit in to learn. And this should be a reminder that it's not just for pleasure. Practice self care like your life depends on it.
so our minds are still working while we're relaxing, and that allows the creativity to flow.
The next card is comfort awaits along the path. Sort
Now,
of
let's see the card.
like a fall scene, a darker, no, it's not bright and sunny. And the chair is kind of old. It has like an older cushion on it. But this tells me that it's a reminder that comfort can come in many ways. It's not just the spa vacation that maybe we can't take, it's not the luxuries that some of us can't afford. Comfort does wait along the path. And it's something that you should expect. It shouldn't be an extra. It should be part of what you get in your daily life, comfort.
Exactly. And I like the way the cards force you to look at the chair, even with a tarot deck. You're supposed to be looking at the images, the colors, the mood, the way that the tarot deck feels. Is it a dark card? Is it a light one? Does it feel fun? So these cards are actually a very good training ground to prepare you to do a more difficult deck like the Rider Waite, because you're starting to look in it and she's telling you to trust what the image is and what you feel. And with any tarot deck or any kind of psychic reading or oracle cards, you have to have your intuition kicking in about it. And that could stir creativity, very much so.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
sometimes you said you could pick one card, like for the first intention. And then there's a 3-card spread, which oftentimes is a very simple one you could use with any deck, even Rider Waite, which is the past, present, and future. And since I just saw A Christmas Carol with the ghosts of past, present, and future, and since I have to review the musical Christmas Carol this week, I feel like past, present, future, this Christmas time is important. So let's do with the Soul on Fire for Nicole, okay? Because this is more
Okay.
love-based one. So let's see if we can see what her past, her present, and her future might hold. Nicole didn't know she was going to get a reading today.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I'm just going to pick three in that order:
I do
past,
use oracle
present,
cards for my quick hits, so I'm
future.
very, very familiar.
Okay. So the past one says move forward with intention, leave what no longer serves you. So I do feel like this is something you've been aware of. I'm
Again,
not saying
reinforcing what we talked about already.
I'm not saying you've always done it, but you certainly have an awareness. This is
No, I've
not your
always done it.
first not your first rodeo. You didn't just wake up spiritual today.
Nah.
Now, in the present, you are not your pain. You are the one who survived it. So I feel like there's a lot of self reflection that goes on in your life, and you're always uncovering things, but always moving forward with it.
And
There's that,
Laurie, what did we say while she was out of the room? I said to you, what Spirit is saying, talk therapy is wonderful, except if you told your story once, you told it twice, you told it
right?
3 times. Stop telling
And
it. You're
and
picking
a
a scab
great
that never stops bleeding. So that's
yeah,
reinforcing what we had just talked about while she
yeah.
was out of the room. Okay.
Mhm.
And you can sum that up with you're the one who survived it. You don't have to bring it up over and over. Just you survived. You're still here. So let's move forward. The future one says don't search for flaws, accept compliments. Do you know how difficult it is for people to accept compliments? When I teach my classes, I do an exercise on that. We self development. Everyone gives each other a compliment. And people have a difficult time just saying thank you.
Mhm.
We automatically point out a flaw. You tell someone you like their hair, they'll say, oh, I need to get my roots done. Oh, I didn't wash it today. Or, oh, this or that or the other thing. So in the future, don't search for flaws,
Mhm.
accept compliments.
Absolutely. But also more the flaws is because she's an artist. And I think she's
Mhm.
a bit of a
Well, actually,
perfectionist.
do me
Well, that's also what the Amish, when they make a perfect quilt and then they make the last stitch, though, unperfect because only God
can be
makes
perfect. I
perfection.
heard that before.
Okay. And Leonardo da Vinci said, you're only going to get art 90% perfect. And if you're going to strive for any more than that, you're not going to complete one piece of art in your whole life because
It's true.
it's never going to be more than that. And we are avid, want it to be perfect, really strive for that. Like when I had to do the Audible book of Grant Me a Higher Love, I didn't want to approach it because I had to edit the Kindle, which meant I had to read that book for 75 hours again, and I had to listen to it for 75 hours. And I thought, I'm going to find everything wrong with it, and I'm going to want to rewrite the whole book, and I don't have time, and I don't want to do that. But instead, because it's 18 years have passed, and I had so many spirit guides helping me write that, I didn't feel like it was my book. I didn't feel that I felt detached from it and amazed by the amount of knowledge that was in it. And I felt like I couldn't write that now. However I did it then, I couldn't do it now. So whatever moment in time allowed me to do that, it's beyond what I could do at this moment. And that's what I want you to learn from me as someone who's a lot older than you, who didn't even want to do that book because I was so afraid of my judgment. So afraid I'd want to pull it off and say, nope, this, and redo the whole thing. It was a whole different response 18 years later. So I want you to realize what you're going to look at now. And yes, as an artist, as a writer, we have to make it as perfect as we can. But then we have to let it go because we'll never accomplish anything else. And we'll also edit it and clean it up and destroy it. We
Mhm.
take the life out of it. It may look perfect to everyone else, but we've taken the humanness out of it. We've taken the joy of it. So that's a message for anyone who's an artist. Like even when I was a professional belly dancer, the better we got, the greater the dancers got, the more years they did. I couldn't stand to watch them anymore. They were too perfect. I like to teach and watch the dancers 4 classes in, and just from their soul, they were dancing. That excited me, not watching people dancing for 20 years of polished perfection.
Mhm.
Didn't interest me. It was cold. Yes, it was perfect, but it was cold. It wasn't of the soul anymore. It was of the ego then, because ego demands perfection. Soul says, go and dance, go sing, Go draw a picture. So that's the message for anyone who's artistic. And we have a lot of creative people that listen to our show.
Yes, we do.
Stop being perfection. Stop judging it now. What will your response be 20 years from now? Is probably the more accurate response of what you have done and created, not what your response is now.
Okay.
I
So
love that.
that's a brilliant message. And we're getting toward the end of our show. So
We are.
is there a card that you might want to pick from either one of your deck or one from each? Because remember, this show is going to be closing up 2025 year of energy. 26 is a year of redesigning your life, reinventing our life. So how can we redesign, reinvent our life? And maybe there's a message in one or two cards for all of us from
Well,
the talented Laurie and her beautiful decks.
I decided to just shuffle through and stop on 3 when I thought it was important. Quiet thoughts are more powerful than loud words.
I like it.
That's the telepathy. Also, remember, we talked about this in our last show. Spirit does not hear what we say when we're yelling. They can't hear it. It's a frequency they cannot hear, and humans don't hear it. Telepathy, we can quietly tell people, knock it off. We can quietly tell them what we need to tell, and they will hear it now because everyone's very telepathic. So let's have quiet thoughts.
Okay, second one, some dances are just for you.
Now, that's what we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about just dance, create art for the sheer joy of art and for art's sake.
This one is actually my favorite. Do have a favorite card. And I feel that we need to redefine our wants, desires, expectations, and not put them all in a box. Relationships can come in many different forms. So this one is soulmates can be friends, friends can be lovers, lovers don't always mean love. And that can be interpreted in
You
so
gotta be
many different
kidding
ways.
me.
Okay, let's say that again. Let's say it
Dude.
slowly.
Right. And
Okay,
Dude,
we could
what are
talk
you
about this
doing,
one
dude?
card
she's got her cat
probably
going in.
for an
Okay,
hour. Soulmates can be friends.
soulmates can be friends and should be friends, I hope.
Friends can be lovers. Lovers don't always mean love. Now, I don't think my interpretation of it is that important, but I think it really gets you thinking.
It does. And these are the kinds of things that a deck like this would be a nice deck to do when you get some friends together, kind of talk, family together. These are both amazing. I don't know which one I prefer
Thank you.
because
With this card, I just want to say if this is a positive thing, because the last thing says lovers don't always mean love. There's so many different kinds of love. And we need to know that just because someone is giving us their attention, it doesn't mean it's the love we want, need, desire. There's so many different kinds of relationships, friends, soulmates, lovers.
exactly.
It sort of reminds us to think about our intentions with people. That's my take on it.
And intention is the key word because nothing is either right or wrong. It's what is our intention. God always says, what was your intention? If it was self-love, self-preservation, and to teach and instruct someone, leaving them is a good intention. Okay, so we always have to say, what is my intention? What do I intend to do with this? And that's a good message to kind of close up, our year that we're having and close up this show on. And Nicole, is there anything that you would like to tell Laurie? Because I think this was a lot of fun. This is a fun
We
show
need
meant
to
to be
have
a fun
Laurie
one.
on again, because let me
I
tell you
think
something.
so too.
It's and
We
I just
love her.
I
Lori, and
love
I just
this.
want you to know something, Lori, that not only was I blown off again as you did the 3 cards, but I'm in a closed office. I closed the door so that I could be by myself. And yet somehow my cat knows how to open the door. And he walked in, and I kept trying to push his head down. He was not having it. And then as soon as I removed him from my lap, my internet blew out again, right in the middle of your talk about love. And
Right.
And
That's funny.
now, Laurie, how can people reach you and how can they buy these cards?
EdifyYourSoul.com.
That's
You
easy.
can go see the magazine. Please check out some of Cindy's awesome articles. And we have many, many articles in there that are so
Great
good.
ones.
And yeah, there'll be links to purchase the cards.
Excellent.
And everybody has a lot of material things. It's very hard to buy people things because every day is Amazon Christmas. People buy
Mhm.
everything they need all year round. But something like this is a fun thing because they can use them all year. They can use them in many different ways by themselves, with others. So think about gifting people with things that can open them up spiritually, that can make them think in a higher perspective and make them think of what their intentions are.
Mhm.
So this has been a fabulous show, and I want to
Yeah.
thank Laurie for giving us
Thank you
her
so
time.
much, both of you. This was wonderful.
This
And
was
it's
great.
so much fun, and we will have her back.
Yes,
And don't
please.
forget to spend some time with us with the Tarot and Me, where Laurie and I will be there. And if you thought this was fun, we're just going to have a lot more fun in that 4-week course too. Because, well, good night, everybody, and thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.